All right, so in this video, we're going to go ahead and we are going to take our Automata box that we assembled the other day, and we're going to make a few changes, and or at least I'm going to show you how to modify then the top piece so that you can put followers in, and then also the side pieces to put your axle in and how to assemble those. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing I want you to realize is when we assemble this, you notice over here, if I look on the left, that our parts that we have in here, they are, believe it or not, the same piece, meaning this top piece right here is actually the same 4x5 piece, okay? So what I did in order to kind of, I'll even delete it, but it was pretty easy. Because both of those pieces right now are the same piece, if I put a hole in one of them, it's going to show up in the other. So how do we go around that? Go ahead and actually in the assembly, click on that top part, and I'm literally just going to hit the delete button, okay? Don't worry, you didn't delete the part in general, you just deleted the top part. So now I'm going to go down to this 4x5 part. And that's currently now on the bottom of the box, and I want to right click and I want to make a duplicate. Okay, and on that duplicate I'm going to go ahead and right click and rename it, and if you notice, it copied the entire part. And I'm going to label this specifically the top. I'm going to click to make that stay. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and go back to my assembly. I'm going to go ahead and insert, and now if you notice, the top popped in there. I'm going to place that in there. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to assemble the top. So to do that, I'm going to go ahead and click on that fasten mate, click on this top face. If it'll work with me here, zoom in a little bit. Here we go, over to this corner, right? Which means, oops, it didn't stay. Click to make sure it stays. There we go. Now I'm going to go over to this piece, but again, I want it to be in that corner, the mate connector. So I'm going to click it. And there you go. But if I notice and rotate it, it's kind of not exactly how we want it, right? I need to flip it up. So I'm going to go ahead and reverse the direction. There you go. Because now if you notice, it will sit on top. And now I'm going to go ahead and rotate it so that, oops, did one too many. There we go. So it's lying flat across on the top. Great. That looks good. Green check. Now this piece is now our top piece, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to actually eventually put in basically 4 or 5 cams. Let's count them. I'm going to eventually place in the circle cam, eccentric cam, pear cam, hex cam, and then the snail cam. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 5 different cams, okay? So the first step is I want to make the holes for the followers. So that means I need to modify this top piece. Okay, so won't let me edit it in here. So I'm going to go ahead and go over to the top piece. And here's what I need to kind of plan out on here. All right, so first step is I'm going to create a sketch on that plane. And the next thing I'm going to do is I want to just put some markers out there. I'm going to draw a rectangle just because it's easier to dimension. One on this side, and then I'm also going to draw one on this side, and what those represent the 2 horizontal vertical sides. Why? Because I want to make sure to space my 5 dowels out, and I need to make sure that the dowels, when I drill the holes, aren't going to interfere with those sides, okay? So now I'm going to go ahead and dimension. So I'm going to click this dimension tool, click on this face, and I know that they're about 1/4 of an inch, so I'm going to make that one. And this one, I'll make that one as well. That is 1/4 of an inch. And there you go. So now I know, oops, I didn't totally want to finish the sketch. There we go. That I do not want to go inside those lines. All my holes I want to evenly kind of space out. So how do I evenly space it out? Let's just figure this out a little bit. I'm going to go ahead. There might be more than one way to do this. I get it. I'm going to just draw a line. And I'm going to make sure it's in the middle. So I'm going to find this midpoint. Here's this midpoint. Gonna just draw it horizontally across till it hits the midpoint of the other side. And I'm gonna make sure that my holes run along those sides, or run along this line. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and draw some circles. I'm gonna draw this one. And again, I'm starting the center there. The diameter, I'm actually gonna make 0.25, right? I'm going to then, believe it or not, use our pattern tool, right? And it's a linear pattern, so here we go. I would like to use a linear pattern. I want to repeat this feature along this line. Oops, it's not showing up here, so let's try this again. The linear tool, I want to repeat this. And if you notice right now, there's just 3. I want to increase that, so I would like to make it, let's see, I need 5 holes, right? Because I have 5 cams that I'm eventually going to put in. And if you notice, it kind of goes off, so that means I need to change the spacing. So I'm going to change the spacing. We're going to make it 0.5, and let's hit tab and see kind of what happens. Oh, those are too close, so let's change it 0.75, tab. There you go. That looks like that's evened out a little bit more. I think I can even space it out even more, because on this right side, it's a little bit farther away from the center of that last circle, which will eventually be a hole. So I'm going to make it 0.85, and let's hit tab and see how that looks much better. Awesome. So we're going to keep it there. I'm going to go ahead and just remember again that they're each spaced out 0.85 inches from center to center. That will help on our model of the axle and the cams when we assemble that section together. So those holes look good, circles look good. I'm going to hit finish sketch. And now if you notice, there are those circles. Now I need to extrude and cut all of those through. But if you notice right now, I realize that they are adding, and that's an easy change, right? All I have to do is now click on remove, and I want to make sure, rotate it, that it's going to go all the way through. Awesome. And then finish sketch. Okay. So there's our top that we modified. I'm going to go over to the assembly, and if you notice, it automatically updated it. And now just to make sure, awesome, it's not interfering with that side. And why? Because we kind of dimensioned that out to make sure that it wasn't going to. Okay. Our next step we're going to do is we need to modify this side so that there's a hole in the middle, right? So these vertical side pieces, that's the 4x4. So I'm going to go over to this. And what I'm going to do next is I need to draw a circle in the middle. How in the world do I do that? Start a sketch on that face, look at it straight on. I'm just going to draw 2 lines, one from this corner to that corner, and then one from this corner to that corner. And where they intersect, that's the center. So now I'm actually going to change those 2 lines. I'm going to escape out of the line tool. I would like to change that to a construction line and that to a construction line. So I'm going to click on both to highlight them, click on the construction line, and there we go. Now, that will just make the extruding it a little bit easier. Click on the circle tool, come to the center intersection point right here. You notice a little rectangle or square pops up. Click to make it stay, type in my diameter, and there is our circle that I'm going to go ahead and now extrude. But I'm going to make sure I don't want it to add, I want to remove material. Okay, click to make it stay. There's a hole right in the middle. You might want to locate yours in a different spot. It all just depends upon where your cams are. Okay, so that they don't interfere with the box assembly itself. So I'm going to click over here, check out our box assembly. That's looking great. All right, we're going to go ahead and stop here. On the next video, I'm going to start to assemble all of the pieces together.